What's going on, everybody? This is Jeff with Island Hopper TV, and today I'm going to talk about upcoming travel plans and travel recap and see what you guys think about what kind of videos you guys like. So first and foremost, in the comments below, if you can tell me what kind of content you like. I went to a lot of different places. I tried to capture as many places as I could with as much footage as I could, but I don't think I did a great job. I think I can do a lot better because the camera goes like this. It's a GoPro Karma, but it was frustrating to watch how it was still kind of causing seasickness to watch. So the drone does good. I'm happy about the drone, but as far as these virtual tours, I've got to do a little bit better job of stabilizing. And I think the GoPro 6 should solve that, which I do have, but I can't find it. So I'm stuck with the GoPro 5. Maybe I'll wait till the GoPro 7. But if you guys have any recommendations for how you like these virtual tours to turn out so that I can make quality videos that people actually like to watch and not just something that I think I'm doing a service with, right? So as far as my next month or so, I'll probably plan to travel around the United States, but I don't know to the audience. I was thinking about going maybe to Denver, maybe even San Diego, maybe do a virtual tour from DC, Chicago, New York, Boston. I was just thinking about going to some of these places, San Antonio, but I figured I'd ask you guys if that's interesting, or should I go down towards Mexico, do Tulum, Cabo San Lucas, Yucatan, which I'll be doing both of those at some point, but I want to know which one of those kind of places seem more interesting to you, because I'm kind of at crossroads. I'm like, well, do I go to Cabo from San Francisco, or do I go towards Denver and then shoot across Chicago, DC, maybe do Atlanta or something like that? And then as far as the travel recap, I just feel like there's so much information to share with you guys. I just don't know what kind of stuff you guys want to know about all the travel. As you know, I just did a full around the world, basically. I mean, I went from, United States across to Europe. I went all through Europe on train. I got tons of experience or tons of stories that I could share with you guys about how to travel Europe. So if you guys could just ask me these questions, it'll help me go in a direction of what the audience is looking to know, because that's why I create this channel. If I'm of no value to you guys, then I'm just doing it all in vain, and it doesn't make sense to even do it for myself, because then I'm just talking head. But I know that there's people out there who want to know this information because they either want to do it themselves, and being that I'm kind of, I guess you could say, a digital nomad, where I work from my cell phone, I work from my computer, and I go to these places, and I've got things that frustrate me that I would like to have an opinion on, in terms of, like, lifestyle opportunities for digital nomads, whether it be the actual transit from the public transport, the Uber, Lyft, etc. kind of experience, or buses. Each place has its own public transport or way of getting around. And then there's airplanes. What do I like about airplanes? What have I seen with airplanes that vary from Asia to Europe to the United States? I mean, I got an opinion on that right now. I would say the best airliners, as far as comfort goes, seem to be in Asia. I mean, in Asia, they always like to feed you. And when they feed you, they're feeding you like legitimate meals. Like here in the United States, if you fly on an airplane, like United Delta, they'll give you chips and then they ask you to pay for it. But it's included in Asian flights, meals. Like, it's almost like they want to feed you too much. But it's smart, because that's something to do, like on a long flight, a 4-hour or 8-hour flight. The process of eating is something to do, besides watch 5 movies. So like when I flew from Taipei to San Francisco, that's an 11-hour and 20-minute flight. They fed us twice, but they also gave us snacks. But outside of sleeping and watching movies, what are you going to do, right? For 11 hours, you're just sitting there. It's like, whew. Thankfully, I did an overnight flight. And that's another thing. Like, whenever I do these long flights, I try to get the red eye. What you don't want to do is be wide awake, drinking a cup of coffee before you get on an 11-hour flight, because that'll be the most boring thing ever. I've done train rides like that too, but at least on trains you can walk up and down the carts. But like I said, I mean, there's so much information that I can share with you guys in terms of my experience because I really went there and did a lot of research to understand how the travel process works out. Jeff, maybe you should consider do a video at these places at night as well, especially Asia. Yeah, it's weird because like I always felt like I needed to get up and go in the mornings. Like I never, so by the time the nighttime came around, I was always too tired, or I just felt like, okay, I'm off work. But I thought about that so many times. I was like, I need to make more night experience videos. Like, and I got some. I also felt as though I should do a little bit better job of tracking the food scenes. I would film food, but I don't think I think it would be almost worth it to go and actually film more of the food experience in each place because it seems like when I talk to people young and old, I say, where'd you go? Where have you been? You know, it usually circles back to more often than not. I mean, and the way I categorize it is you have like three different types of travelers. One is gastronomy, people who are into food. They travel for the food. If the food is good, their travel is good. If the food sucks, their travel sucks. So the people who travel for food, that there's like this whole big culture behind that. Then there's these, you know, I guess you could say these spiritual people, these people who go to these places like Bali and India and around Buddhism and stuff for the spiritualism. You know, I think those are actually more of a minority of the travel niche, but there's still, it seems like there's like that yoga crowd, you know, these people who do yoga. Then a third niche, I really think young people travel just to take Instagram pictures to say they did it. Because when I'm at these places, you know, I'm filming, I'm there filming and I get it. I'm one of those people, but I've also been one of those people who just walked around without the camera. But I see all the young people, they go to these locations, but I don't know if they soak up all the essence of the place. So they just kind of their Instagram pictures and, you know, they're trying to take 15 to 20 shots and they're always doing selfies. You'll even hear me sometimes in my video comment towards them and say, "Oh, I didn't mean to get in the way of your selfie." You know, I guess I do it kind of tongue in cheek. I don't want to get in the way of their selfie, but there is an obsession with selfies with young people. I think they just go to these places more for the selfies to be on Instagram. And then I guess you could say there's people who go to these places to experience it and say they did it and actually experience it. So I've got 5 people. Man, it's really early in the morning on Sunday. I'm sure everyone's sleeping. It's 8:55 here. What's going on, Darlene? Yeah, if you guys got any questions, shoot them at me. But I feel like there's a lot of information I could share with you guys. I just don't know what it is that you guys want to know about. I mean, I could say, what's the safest place I've went? Where's the most dangerous place I went? How's you know, media perceptions? Because the media will tell you that, you know, there's this thing about Islam where people just think that Islam is like going to chop off your head. And I'm constantly I'm not Muslim. I have no reason to defend them left or right. I just say, like, most of the time, the Muslim people that I encountered were pretty friendly to me, and I didn't get the sense that I was in any immediate danger. And so I, you know, when people, I think they give a lot of Islam an unfair shake. Although when I'm in Bali, the Balinese people, they're Hindu, right? They'll tell you that the Java people are the people coming to Bali causing the problems, not the local Balinese people. And then they say, you know, like the thing they always say in Bali is Bali number 1. That's like the phrase that stands out in my head. Every time I got into the cab, it was always Bali number 1. And they're talking about Indonesia, right? And then, but they would say, yeah, they have a problem with the Muslims there. But I didn't necessarily see that. But I guess there is this thing globally. It's not just, oh, an American media doesn't like Muslims. It's like, even like in the Philippines, you know, people say, oh, watch out for Arabs and stuff like that. But in Dubai, the Arabs that I met, now granted they're rich and they are, you know, funded mostly by oil, but were friendly to me, for real. Jeff, I've been concerned about your comment of China having so many people and needing land. Do you think the U.S. is in peril? No, I don't think the U.S. necessarily is in peril especially in the short term. Okay, so if I was just kind of observing what I see in China, number one is I think they're very nonviolent. They're not looking for a fight. But the thing that I do notice is they have this mob mentality. So if they're told to do something, they will do it. So like if their government were to get hostile, there would be a whole bunch of people who would be hostile. But by and large, they're friendly. The Chinese people are friendly. The people, right? But when you see things on the news where things are heating up because of tensions, because the Chinese, for the most part, the United States wants to maintain the superiority, sea lanes and whatnot politically, but the Chinese are growing so rapidly that they're actually kind of stepping on the toes of the United States, which is forcing a little bit of a push-pull thing. And I could see why the Chinese would be wanting to advance their civilization and be looking to advance their civilization. I would say certainly Australia would be way more. This is just my opinion. I'm not so sure many people would agree, but I would say Australia would be far more on the radar than something like the United States. The reason the United States would get involved in something with China in that aspect would be because the United States allied with Australia. So if China was to get aggressive with Australia, that would instantly involve the United States because they're brothers, right? But more in the short term, I'm not saying that China is going to go for Australia in the short term, but it could happen because China is growing so fast. But Taiwan is something that the United States is a protectorate of. And from what I understand, the Japanese and the Chinese don't get along, and that's pretty deep rooted, probably more so than anything that I'd ever understand. But ultimately, there was a genocide where the Japanese were kind of killing off Chinese people during World War II, and it's pretty well documented. But there is this resentment where the Japanese are more of this like proper like culture, and the Chinese are considered. It's kind of like the way the Germans consider the Irish, right? The Irish were considered the less or the inferior to the German mentality, right? So that's kind of how the Japanese view the Chinese, is like they're the superior ones and the Chinese are below them. But now the Chinese are so powerful because of population and land, just wild. But that's just the way it is, right? So these are all like political thoughts that come about. But honestly, I don't think the U.S. is ready to take on China. Well, no, I mean the U.S. So like I've thought about that too. The U.S. is still very militarily strong, weapon wise. We're so weaponized, we wouldn't even need a marching army. So, in terms of a marching army, man to man, I think they outnumber us, United States, pretty big. But all it takes is a WMD or 3 WMDs, and that could, really just cancel that out. Now, no one wants to do WMD, but because it's like, what do they call that? Ceasefire, right? It's like you point your nuke at me, we point our nuke at us, and we realize that cancels each other out the second nukes are involved. So then you have these smaller weapons, right, that are involved. What do they call that? The mother of all bombs that was just recently dropped, I think in Syria. They call it the Moab, right? But they also have a weapon the United States does called, I think they call it the Rod of God. But this is a Star Wars weapon where it's actually it's a satellite that shoots a laser down, but it's so powerful, the compression. But that's the thing, is that I think the United States is still superior militarily, but from a humanitarian viewpoint, we wouldn't want a war with anyone, really. No one wants war. And I don't think China would want a war with the United States. And I think it would be a pretty nasty one. But there is a tension, and I know it's building because I sense it when I'm there and when I'm here. And it's all on the news. But I'm not trying to create fear with anybody. And I think it's still safe to go to China because, like I said, the Chinese people don't want problems with, they want to get along just as much as you do, or we do. When are you going to be traveling again? If You are soon. Maybe you should cover the U.S. and then go late fall, early winter. Yeah, I was looking to cover the United States, Mexico, and I've still got to go to South America and film there, and Australia, which I was close to doing. Would you say that the U.S. is behind infrastructure? Looking at the pikes of where you've been, it seems as though we've stagnated in terms of technology and architecture. Good question. Um, that's a really good question. I just think that United States, just like Europe, for example, if you look at Europe, Europe is for a long time there, they just haven't really grown. I mean, you know, if you think about Paris, you think about Eiffel Tower, you think about the Arc de Triomphe, the Notre Dame, but you don't think about any like new skyscrapers like, you know, Liberty Tower in Manhattan or anything. Whereas in Asia, so like America had this boom where every big city from Phoenix to Denver to New York was building skyscrapers. LA, and then those skyscrapers got built back in the 90s, and then it just seems like every once in a while they pop up skyscrapers. Whereas in China, they're taking flat land and just building a whole bunch of skyscrapers, kind of like what the United States went through in the 90s. Now China's going through that phase of rapid growth and you know, modernization, whereas a lot of the infrastructure in the United States is kind of outdated. The trains, like here in San Francisco, I don't know how old BART is, Bay Area Rapid Transit, but it's so it's so old. And you think about, well, how do you modernize it or overhaul it to even look as flashy or beautiful as or as sexy as Singapore or Hong Kong or Shenzhen or Guangzhou's mass transit? I don't think you can. Um, so I mean, those train systems, I consider those smart cities compared to what you have here in San Francisco. But there has to be this consensus by Americans, I believe, to think about infrastructure rejuvenation. I think over the last 8 years they were putting in an effort to do that, and then supposedly Trump was this great president, builder, construction guy, but I haven't seen any like new construction projects going on, at least here in San Francisco. But I think I saw a little bit. I was impressed with Phoenix. Phoenix appears to be growing like a lot of new infrastructure, and I was pretty impressed with Phoenix. But I haven't. I should tour around the United States, like Island B just told me to, and really see how these American cities stack up against what I saw in China, from Shanghai to Guangzhou to Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Macau, and then even Singapore and Taipei. I think I should do that just as a matter of research and see how the United States really does stack up. Yeah, I do have to cover it. Did you hear about the tunnels underneath the ocean that China has and is building? Amazing. Yeah, like I said, I mean, the only thing that concerns me about the rise of China is because I love China, I love visiting China, I love the Chinese food, I love the Chinese people. The things that make me a little bit concerned about them rising is I don't feel as though they like to integrate. So it's like they'll feed you and whatever, but I don't know if they'll hire you, and I don't know if in their society, if you know, there's an equality where if you're not Chinese, whatever you are, whatever your culture you come from, wherever it is, right? I don't see that integration in China like you see in the United States, where you know you go into most workforces, corporate America, and there's, you know, even here in the hotel, like it's a mixed staff where it appears like anyone could be the boss, right? And in China, you won't see like a multi-ethnic leadership. It's pretty much Chinese, 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 and then they'll have like some like immigrant, I guess, working at the bottom. But there's not like that equality yet in China, which that concerns me. And then just the fact that they are growing so rapidly, and they appear to be a little bit combative with Washington. Yeah, do it before it gets cold in the U.S. Part of me wants to go experience like New York in the winter and Chicago in the winter, because I've been living in Hawaii for 3 years. It's nothing but summer, and over every country I was at in Asia was hot. Um, but yeah, you're right. Seems as though they don't integrate here or support the local neighborhoods they are in. U.S. has yes, 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 yes. Yeah, I mean, you even see it here in the United States. Like you go into a Chinese shop, most of, a Chinese restaurant, you sometimes see that they hire someone who's not Chinese, but um, yeah, and that goes back to my whole like thought. I could see why they would do that because there's so much Zen inside the Chinese working force. Like when they literally, if they brought me in, I would throw off their Zen because that Zen that they have as Chinese is just so it works. It works. That's why they're so productive. Um, if you were to bring in someone like me, or like even when I step into a restaurant or something, I just feel as though I've changed the vibe in there just because I'm different. Now, they haven't made me feel like I had to get the hell out of there. Like that would be maybe more of a concern if they were like, you got to get out of here kind of thing, because you're not Chinese. But I feel as though I could see how like, it's more comforting to be around people who look just like you for them. I think that works for them. And I think that's so multiculturalism in the United States, if you were to compare something like China or Japan, where they're pretty much the same culture, look all the same in the sense that they're, the same kind of ethnicity, compared to a multicultural society like Europe and United States, you have to compare those two. I mean, if you just look at it side by side, I think the best way for anyone to really view it is to go there and experience themselves and try to, and then compare the notes that I have or the thoughts that I have with you or someone else. I mean, but it is something that you can literally analyze. It's like a great thing for college students to study, like the effects of multiculturalism versus something like Chinese culture, where it's all Chinese. Pacific Northwest. Yes, that is one of the places on my list. Yeah, Korea's real friendly. I mean, there's places like Korea is one of those places, whereas Japan's not like this, but Korea, you'll be walking down the street and 10 people will come up to you and they just want to take a picture with you. That's all they want from you is just a picture. So you'll just be walking and they'll be like, picture, picture. They'll be like, you picture. And then that's all they want. I don't speak Korean. They don't speak English. So it's like, they just want to take a picture with you. I don't understand that, but that happens to me quite a few times. That even happened in China a couple times. So they just want to get like a selfie with you and then that's it. Good question. This traveling alone thing is something that I've thought about creating a separate channel just to talk about how to do solo travel because, even I think the reason that I have so much confidence in solo travel is because I had been to those places before, so I knew what to expect. But like even when I think about some of these other places to go by myself, whether it be Morocco or Egypt or Turkey or um, South America, Brazil, Colombia, because I haven't been there, that's why I haven't gone there by myself. But because I'd gone there when I was in the military to these places like Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, etc., I have confidence, even Dubai. So I already knew what to expect and I knew it would be safe to go there by myself. But like when I start thinking about should I go by myself to Egypt or Morocco or Turkey, Colombia, Venezuela, I'm sure I could. I've gone to Mexico by myself, but I've been there before with some people, so I knew what to expect. But it's like right when you get off the plane, right? You're there by yourself. Like, and the second you step out of that airport, you're there by yourself. You're on your own. And that's kind of like one of those things, like I don't want to get too ahead of myself with that. But that's a really good question. I feel like there's a lot of information to talk about when it comes to solo travel and how to get the confidence to do it. Some of the countries that I did do that without having previously been there, which I didn't think about it at the time, but Malaysia and Indonesia, which are Muslim countries predominantly. And I just went there by myself, and it dawned on me in Indonesia when I had taken the train to the wrong place and I was walking around the community. I was like, ooh, ooh, what am I doing here? Because it was like no one spoke any of my language, and I was like just dropped off in the middle of nowhere because I got off the train and I didn't realize that there was no other train outbound, so I had to get a taxi. But that was a sticky situation, I think, and I had that same thing happen in Indonesia actually, where it just like I stopped dead in my tracks and I'm like, okay, what am I doing right here by myself in this sticky situation? Is there anything new happening overseas that haven't reached U.S. yet? Yeah, these robots, these like literally your replacements. They're called I call them the replacements. They're like these literally like human droids. Thanks to everyone who smashed up the like button. That's building our community and our chat. So thanks to you guys who are doing that. But yeah, these like China has these literally these artificial intelligence, these human droids, these robots where they communicate with you. Like you can talk to them and they'll understand your voice command. They're like Siri, that with robotics. So that I've never seen that in the United States yet, where you can talk to a robot that has arms, legs, and stuff like that. So that was interesting. I saw that in China. China's, for the most part, they use American technology, and then they just mass produce it really efficiently and take it from there. So they haven't really done that with airplane. Like they still buy Airbus and Boeing 777s, but I mean it's just a matter of time probably before they create their own company for that. I did a cryptocurrency stream the other day, actually, 2 days ago. I'm probably going to do one again today. Passports. What company are you using to get your passport and how long did it take? Oh, I got my passport back in 2009. So my passport expires in a year. But I think you just go online and just do it. You can even do it at the, yeah, mine's like a 9-year-old passport. So I haven't done it in a while, but I got to do it again. But I think you can do it at the post office or apply online. Having major issues getting passport to Boston to travel to Mexico, and I'm leaving in 2 weeks. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, did you look online how to get express passport, or go to the post office about that? Titus says, as a black man, I definitely stand out in Asia. Um, I've seen several black guys that are by themselves, just like me. You know, um, and I thought they look comfortable. I mean, when a person is by themselves, they stand out to me more than someone who's like a couple or in a group, because I'm like, okay, those are people like me who are, doing this on their own. And rarely do I meet them, and I'm always impressed when I meet them. I'm not so impressed with myself, but I'm always impressed when I meet a solo traveler who tells me that they've been to all these different places. But it's kind of like they're kind of like, I feel like a connection with them. But I would say that yeah, I mean, no, if you're a black guy and you feel intimidated by that, I would say it's more in your head. Like, because, and I'm obviously, I don't know what it's like to walk in your shoes, but I think that because it's really a confidence thing. It's really a confidence thing. And you have to get over the fact that there's going to be people who might have a problem with you. If you worry too much about what other people think, I don't see how you can go out of your house every day. I mean, if you, it's so I'm saying, like, if you're Mexican, black, or Asian, and whatever it is, I mean, I think anyone can do it. It's just a matter of just not worrying about what other people think, and just when you do come across a situation where someone's rude to you, document it in your mind and see how that could play out to you a little bit better next time, because maybe they might be upset with something that you're doing, or maybe they're just straight up against you just by the way you look. I don't know, but I mean, that stuff's going to happen. Like Japan, when they go like this, that means no you, whatever you is, Is it white? Is it American? I don't know. But when they go like this, it's basically like saying, your type not allowed in here. When I get that kind of feeling, I just say, okay, thanks. What am I going to do? Be like, hey, I'm in Japan. Let me in. No. Thanks for answering my question. I'm currently deployed and will definitely need a vacation when I get back. Was thinking Tokyo or Japan, or Tokyo or Thailand. Okay, Tokyo or Thailand. Yeah, Darlene says, thank you for your service. I, I'll say that too. I was, I figured, I still think like I'm deployed all the time anyway, but yeah, no, that's good that you're in the service. But thank you, Darlene, for saying that for me. Tokyo or Thailand? Well, both are great. Go to both, can you? If you can go to both, I don't know. Thailand's more like beaches. Do you like beach resorts? Tokyo's more city for sure. So you're not going to get beaches in Tokyo. You get beaches in Thailand. Thailand's got lots of islands. Everything cool about Thailand. Everything cool about. I would say more expensive, higher quality, higher standard of living, higher standard in Tokyo, but I don't know. It just depends. Darlene says, Jeff, you're right. Titus, just keep in mind that hurt people, and there's racism everywhere. So keep in moving and find your tribe no matter the. Yeah. I mean, it's seriously, I stand out in all these countries. Okay. There's not a lot of people that look like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, I mean, fitting in, what is fitting in? Like, I don't even know what that means to me anymore. Like finding people who look like me. So, I mean, I guess you just kind of, just be cool, be a good person, just be friendly, like be a friendly person. And, like try to think like you're an ambassador for who you are, where you come from. I think that's a good thing. That's a really good thought that I always had. Like, think like you're like you're the president or you're the ambassador of who you represent. If it's black people or if it's Muslims or something. So if you say, well, okay, I've got to, or if you're an American, you're like, okay, they're going to ask me where I'm from. I got to make sure that I conduct myself in a way that when they meet me, that they see the light, right? That they see a good quality individual that they respect. Even if you've got a foul attitude about it, make the best of it, and put a good face forward or something like that. Like maybe they rip you off. Maybe they overcharge you for a taxi cab, and like sometimes I've been overcharged. I wanted to argue it and be like, you're going to charge me $30, but I was like, oh, whatever. Here, I don't want to argue with this guy because number one is they don't speak the same language as me, and they said it and they gave me a ride, and I'm appreciative of the ride, so all good. Something like that. Yes, Island B wants a video from Lisbon. I don't know why I have not made that video from Lisbon. It's just I didn't think a lot of people wanted to see it. I mean, Lisbon's cool. It's good. It's good. It's cool. I thought Sintra was more interesting film than Lisbon. Lisbon's cool though. I'll make a video about Lisbon. Did you see any cities, Spain or Madrid, unseat your last rankings of top European cities? Good question. I still think Barcelona is my top city. I was impressed with. Let me see. What cities was I impressed with? I was impressed with Milan. I was impressed with Barcelona. I was impressed with Madrid. I was impressed with Lisbon. I guess these are modern cities, right? I don't know. I think they all kind of. I don't know. Athens. I think there's only like one thing to do in Athens. Like, and I heard that someone said that, but it's just go to the Acropolis. That's all there is to do in Athens. So, like, if you're going to the Greek islands and you're trying to plan for Athens, Athens is cool, but 1 or 2 days in Athens is all you need. And all you're really going to do is go to the Acropolis and like walk around in the area around the Acropolis. Then go to the Greek islands. Now, when you get to the Greek islands, it gets exciting. Porto, as far as scenery goes, has Lisbon by a mile. The thing that I liked about Lisbon was it was more modern than Porto, meaning that like I could stay in a, I could get fast internet and like, but Porto is more like that rustic Portuguese, like this is how Portugal is kind of thing. Um, Lisbon's got more like they've got high rises and stuff. You won't see a high rise like that in Porto. Porto's you know wow, Porto's pretty cool. All right, see you later, Darlene. All right, guys. Well, yeah, Porto's good. If you guys have any other questions, um, I don't know. 14 people are watching, 7 people smashed up likes. All the trains modern through to tour Eastern Europe by train. Okay. Yeah, there was some places where the train got sucky, so to speak. Like once I got past Rome, it seemed like once you start getting past Rome in Italy, it starts to slow down. Okay. So like when you get, so everything's cool. You can go all throughout Europe on train until you get to about Rome on the south towards the boot. And then if you don't go towards Rome, you go towards Milan and then you go towards Venice. But once you get to Venice, it basically stops. There's no train to go through Slovenia or Croatia, at least none that I saw. There could be, but I didn't see any trains through Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, because I was going to keep taking the train, down to Greece, right? Because if you go from Venice, you go like Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Albania, some other stuff I can't even remember because I don't have a map imprinted in my mind. But then you come to Greece, and that's what I wanted to do, was just take the train. But I don't think you can do that. So that was Eastern Europe, right? But Western Europe, yeah, all the countries, they have train and they're interconnected through the Eurozone, I guess you could call it. Are you planning to go back to Europe and go to places in the Balkans or Eastern Europe? The Balkans, the Balkans, the Balkans. Is that Estonia or Latvia? I mean, I've been to Estonia. I didn't really go to, I still need to explore Scandinavia. That would be like one that I need to explore more. I didn't really explore Scandinavia too much. I haven't been in Norway. I barely touched on Finland, and I did a little bit of Sweden when it was cold, and I did some Estonia. But I think that's what you're talking about, the Balkans. I've been to Ukraine, but I've never been to Russia. And I just don't really have an urge to go to Russia, really. Although I should. I should go to Russia. Yugoslavia, yeah, I should go there. Czech Republic was, see, I've never been to Poland either. Czech Republic, which I think is called Czechia now, is about as, I don't know. I guess I need to go to Russia. I need to go to the Eastern Europe now that you guys got me thinking about it. Croatia, yes, I would like to go to Croatia and Montenegro and Serbia and all that. No, I have not been to Sicily. That's what I was saying. That's what I was going to say was, so once you get south, I did go south of Rome. I went towards like Naples, so Napoli, Naples pizza, Napoli pizza. I went down there, and it's, I guess you could say it's pretty easy to get to Naples, but once you get south of Naples, then you're in a little bit of a sticky situation because you get to Portofino, you get to Capri, those islands, which is really beautiful. But south of there, then you start to come into like Tropea. And man, once you get down to Tropea, it just slows down big time, and it starts to get real slow down there in Tropea. And then you go from Tropea, you can actually go towards Sicily. So, but I could not get there because the railroad tracks had been overrun. So I didn't get to go to Sicily, but I was hearing great things about Sicily. Really, I was. It's just I got tired. I got exhausted with the Italian transit system because I was there for so long, and I honestly got tired of trying to communicate in Italy. but it was one of the countries I stayed the longest. Do you think Hawaiian Islands will call you back? Yes, I'm still looking to get land on the Big Island. I'm looking at buying land there, over there. How is Big Bro JBL? JBL, who's JBL? JBL. You also need to island hop in the Med, Corsica, Sardinia. Yes, Malta, Cyprus. I agree. But island hopping like that is tedious. It's not very convenient, so it's time consuming. I'd have to. I mean, I'm looking at 3 weeks to do the Med like that. What is JBL? JBL. I'm waiting to hear what JBL is. WWE JBL. Okay. That would be my concern traveling solo is the language barrier. Yes. Okay. So the language barrier isn't a big deal in Europe. Okay. So you should be able to breeze through Europe. No problem. Like the hardest place outside of Italy, it seemed like the Spanish islands, like Ibiza and Mallorca, I got pinned up over there because of communication problems. So the Balearic Islands are what Mallorca and Ibiza are part of, and they also have Formentura. But I did feel like I got pinned up in Ibiza and Mallorca because of that, because of language, and then southern Italy, I think. But for the most part, outside of those two places, I mean, that's when you start going off the beaten path. But when you if you just stick to the big cities, like connecting the dots, you're like, okay, Berlin to Prague, you can make that trip. And from Prague to Vienna, you can make that trip without language problem. Then you can go from like Prague to Salzburg, or I'm sorry, Vienna to Salzburg, or you could go Vienna to Budapest, which is the other direction, which is your eastern stuff that you want to do. But if you want to come back west again towards like Switzerland, you can go straight. I did a slingshot from Vienna to, Vienna, Austria to Switzerland, Zurich. And that I think was about an 8-hour ordeal. I stopped in Salzburg, got off the train, walked around, and I was like thinking about staying there. But what I did was I just took my suitcase and I put it in one of those cubby holes where you put the money in there. And I walked around for about an hour and I tried to see if I wanted to stay there. And I said, no, it doesn't seem that interesting to me. So I just kept pressing on to Zurich. I got to Zurich and I was like, okay, I like Zurich, but whoa, it's expensive. The only place that the language barrier is really an issue, like no joke is an issue, is China. China is the most difficult country to travel. China, I would say, but it's the most easy at the same time. I also thought Japan was pretty hard at first because of the language, to be honest with you. I was frustrated. I was so frustrated I had to get the heck out of there. Like the first time I went to Japan by myself, I was like so frustrated. I was like, I can't even understand this. It's cold. I'm out of here. That was literally my first. But then I went back there and I was like, okay, I'm bound and determined to unlock this because I know that this mass transit system makes sense. I just got to understand it. And once I understood it, it was like autopilot. Same thing with China. It's like once you understand it, it's good to go. So it's a little bit of repetition and practice. You got to get in there and you got to keep going for it. Yeah. So like I was saying earlier, China has these tier systems. They have tier 1 cities, tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities. Tier 1 cities: Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, maybe like one or two others. I don't know. The SARs, Hong Kong, Macau. But they have, they don't speak English so much there, but they have English words on the metro. But once you start to get out into China, I think I've heard, into the tier 2 areas and especially tier 3, you're on your own. Maybe not so amazing. How did you work around Google Translate. So Google Translate, but that's the thing, because China has the Great Firewall of China, you can't use most Google products, including Translate. But because you can download the actual dictionary or the translator, make sure you download it and try to get a VPN. Try to get a VPN already before you go into China. If you get a VPN and you're set up and you understand how the VPN works, you should be good to go in China. But if you go into China like I did without a VPN because you were scared, I was scared the first time because they're like the guy that did my visa for China, he was like, don't don't get a VPN because the Chinese government will come looking for you. But then I found out everyone uses VPNs if they're traveling. So I was like, but the first time I was like, I don't need the Chinese government to come looking for me. And they're probably going to be tracking everything I'm going to be doing if I had one. So I didn't do it. But second time around, I was like, okay, I felt more comfortable because again, I had went there before and I used the VPN and things worked a lot. Things went a lot smoother in China with the VPN. What's going on, Freedom Tribe? I like your name. What's going on, Barry O'Sullivan? See, guys, this is why you guys, when you push up the like button, it tells more people, so more people come in and we just start getting the ball rolling here. It's easier in the bigger cities of China because of the public transportation. Honestly, Titus, I think you'll be good to go, man. Honestly, no matter where you go. I would say don't worry about it. I know that it seems like it can be intimidating, but I mean, I think we all, even myself, I come up against that whole thing that you're talking about, like, well, will they, judge me or whatever like that. And I think, yeah, you're going to have that. Sometimes I'll even go up to a taxi cab and I could sense that they don't want to let me, give me a ride or whatever, for whatever reason. It could be because they think that I'm not going far, or because they just don't want me, an American, in their car, and if I feel like that, I'm just like, there's nothing I can do to change that guy. If he says no, he says no. I'm not going to let it affect me. What is my favorite Asian dish? Asian. I like a lot of Asian food. I mean, there's Indonesian food. They got like nasi goreng, which is like rice. It's pretty good. Spicy a little bit, but that's an Indonesian dish. And then I like a lot of Chinese food. I like tempura. Not so big on sushi, but I like tempura. I like miso soup. I like a lot of soups. I like wonton soup. I like fried noodles. I guess it's called Hong Kong noodle, but it's actually chow mein. Like when Chinese say chow mein, it's different than the chow mein you're thinking. Like they say chow mein or something like that, and you'll be like, wait, did they just say chow mein? I see that you're really popular on Facebook with the Island Hopper series. Yeah, that's been picking up for me. It's pretty fun to see the growth. I got to keep at it. I got to improve the quality. That's for dang sure. Like I already know that I got to improve the quality because I get people complaining. It's just part of it's time and part of it's actually equipment, and then the other part of it is skill. So it's threefold problem. My skill set level, the equipment. I think the equipment is number one thing that I need to adjust the sound, because people complain about the audio. That's not something that I can control if I have inferior equipment. And then the camera bobbing up and down, that's a GoPro 5 to a GoPro 6 solution, but I don't have the Hero 6. I've had the Hero 5, which the built-in image stabilization in the 6 should have fixed the 5's problem. And then the skill thing is, well, time. I think skill can be improved with time. Just returned back from a recent trip to Maui. The hurricane was on our tail as we took off to come back home. Still hoping to move there in the next couple of years. Yeah, I lived in Maui for about a year. I would say that long term on Maui, this is about Hawaii, okay? If you're trying to plan for like living on Hawaii for 5 years or something, I would say be very slow to plan for that, okay? Like Hawaii is one of those places, even San Diego, like San Diego is a better place to visit than it is to live, okay? Los Angeles, probably a better place to visit than it is to live. I don't know. Maybe people like living in Los Angeles, but I'd rather just visit it. But if you're going to keep going to Hawaii, if you want to live in Hawaii so that you can explore it, maybe do 6 months. Plan for 6 months. See if you like it enough. Don't like sell the farm to go drop everything and move to Hawaii that fast, because 6 months in Maui, it's a small island. It's smaller than you think. You can do a lot. As a vegetarian, I definitely have to plan before I travel. Yes, if you are a vegetarian, that is something that could be frustrating. I've thought about that. I was like, man, I'm glad I'm not a vegetarian, because that could be really frustrating, especially with the language barrier. Um, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna check out the cryptocurrency channel. Thanks to everyone who watched this video. We're at 50 minutes, so thank you, Titus, for all the questions. Thank you, Freedom Tribe. Thank you, Islands B. Thank you, Darlene. Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, meeting the locals will help you. No, I don't get too much into the whole idea of like the islands calling me, because these people, there's just like people there that say, oh, the islands called you. If the islands are calling you, then you better come. It's just like this. It's like this hippie notion that, oh, the islands call you, you need to answer. If they don't like you here, the island will let you know this and that. I don't subscribe to that. I look at it, Hawaii is another place on earth. But I would say that if there is something to it, it would be that if you tend to get a positive vibe from the locals, that's probably a good sign that you're on the right path. If you tend to not get along with the locals, I think that me getting along with the locals in Hawaii made me feel more confident that I could stay in Hawaii for an extended period of time, which was from 2014 to 2018, so about 4 years, right? Um, and I left because I missed the connection to city life, like being being connected. Although we'll see if I already miss Hawaii certainly, but at least I can go back there and visit. Unfortunately, it's really expensive. What channel do you do your crypto stuff on? Altcoin Buzz, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin stuff. Speaking of that, I should probably check it out. All right, guys. See you later. Thanks to everyone who hit the like button, and we'll see you guys next time. Oh, please, in the comments, let me know what kind of videos you guys want. I'm serious about that. I'm not just saying that to get your comments. I'm saying that because once I know what kind of content people like and are looking for, I can do my best to, be like a server. It's like, what can I do for you, sir? Because as a media guy, if I'm doing what I like, that's not customer service. So, and I can tell you, YouTube has been a great resource for me, giving me the confidence to travel and do a lot of different things. So I find it fun to create channels to provide information for people who are looking for that. And even when I'm traveling, I'm constantly telling like these young people in Indonesia, I was like, did you know that you can go onto YouTube and learn how to do anything? You want to learn how to cook steak? You can learn how to cook steak on YouTube. You want to learn how to do this and that, how to I don't know, make a concrete path in your backyard, go on YouTube. I mean, you can learn how to do it all. You want to learn how to weed whack? You want to learn how to fly drones? Go on YouTube. So just being able to share that with people, I felt like it was like a liberating opportunity for people who don't see their way out and see that if they can't go to college, like a lot of times that in like Indonesia, for example, or Philippines, they get stuck like, oh, I can't go to school. I'm like, you don't need school. You have YouTube now. You can learn anything. So that's why I like doing these YouTube stuff. I mean, I wish I could create 10 different channels and I could just autopilot each one of those and create content to share it with the rest of the world. But, I'm only one person and I can't edit that fast or create content. And there's a lot of copyright and stuff. So I can't just take any old video. But I'd like to. Mahalo, Jeff. Thank you for Hawaiian videos and advice. Oh, well. Yeah, I mean, I just sharing my experience with you guys. It's not really advice. It's more like this is how I view it, kind of thing. I found your videos informative and very useful. Thank you, Thomas. But it is 54 minutes into the video. I'm actually jamming out. But next time, Thomas, if you guys like these videos and you're not getting notified, just turn on the bell. click the bell, and you'll get notified when we go live. See y'all.